Thank you. So it's great to know that we're making history. I'm Dave Elliott, and I am a nerd. Legitimately, I am a nerd. I'm such a nerd that when I was in high school, when I was in grade 9, I wrote a baseball program. For those of you not familiar with baseball, basically what I wrote was a program that you threw, as somebody threw the ball, they threw it at a certain speed, depending on how they hit the keys. Someone else could hit a button and swing and hit the ball or not hit the ball, and depending on where they push the button, when they push the button, things like that. So I was really proud of this. This is ninth grade, 10th grade, thereabouts. And I went and showed it to my friends. And as my friends, as you might figure, looked at it, they played it, and they said, "This is really good, Dave, but it could be better. It could be better. What if it's raining outside? Maybe the ball will float differently. What if the pitcher is a left-handed pitcher, and it's a Tuesday, and it's a full moon?" So I went back, and I changed the program, and I wrote new lines of code, and went out and showed it to some more friends who came back and said, "It's really good, but what if you're playing at a higher altitude? The ball travels differently." So I went back and changed it again, and so on, and so on, and so on. And that's what I did essentially for the next year and a half. And that's kind of how software has been built, and that's what we've done in the software industry since the beginning of time, right, for 40 or 50 years. And what's exciting to me about AI and machine learning is you can create a system that learns its own rules, that learns based upon looking at examples what those rules should be, and then implements those rules automatically. That is really, really exciting. And to Google, as you might imagine, this is an area that provides a lot of promise. Google's been doing AI for many, many years. A few years ago, our CEO said he's going to transform the company to an AI-first company, and we really have. So you probably heard Greg this morning and Allison talk about how we want to help you transform your business. It's the same in my space, in AI. We want to empower enterprises to be able to transform their businesses with AI like Google has. You can imagine, writing those rules, heuristics, they simply don't scale. And there's no reason for you to do that if you can create a system that learns itself and creates those rules for you. And that's what we've done over and over again at Google, and that's what we, in Google Cloud, hope to be able to allow you to do. So why, with all the excitement around AI right now, we're at the peak of inflated expectations on the Gartner, whatever it is, the Gartner wave for AI. So why is that? So what I think is that we're at the peak of inflated expectations, starting to wander into that trough of disillusionment. And the reason is because we have not had a lot of high-profile successes in AI. And why is that? First, the use cases are not well-defined. People don't fully understand what AI can do, what machine learning is, and what it can't do. Second is people. There's not enough experienced people who are also educated. It's that mix, that people who are trained in machine learning, those PhDs in machine learning, who also have experience. There's just not enough of them for the size of the opportunity. The third thing is deployments and integration are just, it's rapidly changing segment with new models, new algorithms, new infrastructure being developed and rolled out every 6 months or so. And so it's really, really brittle. And we have not had, like I said, a ton of successes. And the fourth reason, and you've probably heard this throughout the day in this session, is data, right? If machine learning is basically using examples to make predictions, the examples are data, and if you don't have those examples, if you don't have that data, and if you don't have clear control of that data, then you're not going to have success. So there are some major issues that exist in the world today. So what is that? So to sort of compound that, who can actually use AI and be successful with it? So this is our own analysis here. There's probably about 10,000 or so deep learning researchers, the ones who are really up to their noses and looking at deep learning. There's maybe 2 million machine learning experts. These are the people that might go online and do Kaggle competitions, for instance. But then there's 23 million people like me and people like the bulk of the individuals at Google who are software developers, where we are We are the people who build stuff, probably like a lot of you in the audience. And then there's 100 million or so or more, right, business users, business analysts who could benefit from machine learning. And so, the challenge is, how do you get the 23 million and the 100 million to be able to take advantage of machine learning? And that's what I'm going to talk about over the next few sessions, and that's what David from MyRepublic is going to talk about. So the first way for the green 23 million I showed a second ago is what we call AI building blocks. And you've heard a few of these. You've heard throughout the day, hopefully, about a few of these. So what's an AI building block? It's using our models, fully pre-trained models, leveraging our domain expertise from having billions of users and lots of examples to train these models for you to be able to use. Your data gets applied against our models. And these are things like computer vision, in the area of computer vision, looking at images, video intelligence that we just heard about with 90 seconds right before us, speech, language, translation, conversation. So these are the fundamental building blocks, again, that you don't need to have to really have spent any time learning machine learning, to be able to take advantage of it. So building blocks. There's two types of building blocks. The first type is our simple APIs, and this is literally the simplest way to use machine learning. It's a RESTful call, and you get some JSON back, and you're able to leverage our predefined data sets, our predefined labels with your data, with your images, with your video clips, with your speech segments. You can send them for translations or understanding. The second one, which is really exciting, is AutoML. AutoML is a product line that has a simple user interface that lets you use your labels, and data sets based on our pre-trained models. So you can customize them to your specific business use case. So let me talk about the difference between the APIs and AutoML in the case of computer vision. So this is one of our areas. It's called the Vision API. So the Vision API, you can batch upload a bunch of images, and you can get an analysis done on those images, and it'll give you a whole bunch of information. It'll be able to detect objects in the images, be able to detect popular places and landmarks. You can do things like moderate for explicit content without, again, having to know anything about machine learning. These are models that are built and trained on Google's experience, or in our examples. So that's the Vision API, computer vision looking at images. But what if you have, like most of you probably do, specific use cases for images or videos or translations or industry terminology? Well, then you use AutoML. And AutoML lets you then upload your own examples and put your own labels on those examples and train the existing model so that it understands your distinct use case. In this example, we've got pictures of sharks you'll see in the bottom left corner. And so if you use our Vision API, you might get a result back like, in this image, or in these million images, there are 20,000 pictures of sharks. That's great, but what if you want to know specifically what types of sharks there are? Well, you can train, using AutoML Vision, that to understand the difference between a hammerhead shark, a great white shark, or something else. So AutoML Vision lets you create those custom labels for your specific use case. Another example might be a bike. So if you have a photograph of a bike, again, the Vision API can use our labels and come back and say, great, we understand it's a bike, but what if you want to have, to understand the type of bike, you can come back based on your labels and know that it's a road bike, a hard trail bike, or something else. So another building block that I'd like to talk about is something called dialog flow. And you heard a little bit about this before in the earlier session. And what dialog flow lets you do is create conversational experiences with your customers. Conversational experiences. So what is a conversational experience? Basically, it's the ability to have voice or chat interfaces in an automatic way using natural language understanding with your customers. So conversational experiences is really a hot area right now, and it's really, I won't say it's a solved domain, but it's pretty darn close. And why is this important? Well, a lot of analysts say conversation is the new UI. So as you're building apps, conversation is the new UI. 80% of customer interactions can be solved through these automated systems. 60% of consumers actually want easier access to solve these things themselves. And then again, according to Gartner, half of enterprises will be spending more on bots than they will on traditional mobile apps by 2021. So conversational AI is the new UI. Dialogflow is built on a whole bunch of Google assets. Again, we've been doing AI for a long time, including things like natural language understanding, TPUs that you heard about in the earlier session, custom-built hardware that makes it really efficient and inexpensive. So Dialogflow, this conversation UI, is built on our infrastructure. And as a result, Dialogflow has been phenomenally successful. It really has been adopted, not by machine learning researchers, but by people like me, developers, who want just to ship good code, to ship good applications. And so Dialogflow really is a great example of a building block that someone can use to take advantage of artificial intelligence. So to talk about that, I'd like to introduce, forwards, David Robinson, the Chief Technology Officer from MyRepublic, to come up and talk about Dialogflow. Let's welcome David.
3 months ago. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. As Dave said, my name's David Robinson. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for MyRepublic. Hopefully everyone in this room knows who MyRepublic are. Hopefully a large percentage of you are customers. For those who aren't, just to give you a little bit of a background. So MyRepublic is a ISP. We provide ultra-fast connectivity services to countries Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, and of course New Zealand. And we're in the process of expanding into some additional new markets. With that, our focus has always been on delivering customer-centric processes. And when I say that, that really comes down to customer obsession, as well as an agile platform. And an agile platform in this terminology isn't just we keep doing things fast, but we're responsive to customers. We have a platform that is able to evolve as customers go. And with that, the reason I'm here today is that we've listened to our customers, right? Our customers, unfortunately, encounter problems in markets and they call us up. When they call us up, I don't know about you, but listening to an IVR that says, please hold your call as important to us, one of our operators will be with you shortly, absolutely drives me insane. If they were that important, we would have more. So what we did was we actually sat down and said, how do we actually drive our operational costs down? Right? Telco is an industry that is actually struggling to make revenue. It is continually being disrupted. There's new competition coming in every single day. As consumers, we all want the price to get lower and lower and lower. I don't want to pay a premium for fast internet because it really is an essential part of our life. If the internet stops for a couple of hours, we all don't know what to do. I think we've lost the idea of actually talking to each other and reading a book. Yet, we also need to make sure that whatever we do, we keep our customers happy. So part of this was we sat down and we thought, let's build a chatbot, right? We have people coming in, we have a common set of questions that are generally being asked. How do we build one that is not a knowledge-based chatbot, right? I'm sure we've all had the misfortune of going to a chatbot, asking a question, and just being shown 10 or 20 frequently asked question pages and told to select that. We want something that is domain-specific, that understands the industry that we're in. We also want it to understand what brand we're selling and how they can interact with the customers. And that's not just from customer support, but that's also from a billing perspective as well as sales. And of course, the most important thing was, how do we actually make it, delightful? How do we actually keep that human touch, right? And with that, we actually partnered with Google and we started our journey from an AI-based chatbot. With this, the approach that we took was the first thing was to identify the opportunities, right? If you see the diagram there, there's two major things that we need to consider when you're taking any journey along this. First off, what is the complexity of the work? Is this something that is very simple, process-driven, or does it require judgment-based? What's the complexity levels across that, right? Is it binary, yes, no, or does someone have to look at the situation and go, I need to make a call, let me think about that, understand the customer and deeper understanding, and also the complexity of the data. And when we went through that, we also looked at it from two different perspectives. One, how do I automate routine tasks so that as a customer comes in, they can get the answer resolved quickly, they can get on, get off, and continue to do what they need to do for their day job. The other is, for those agents and for those people who actually use this tool, how do we make them better, right? How do we actually take their skill level from where they are today to the next level? And that's the augmentation part of this. Once we got past that, we wanted to understand the goals of our customers, what they needed to achieve. Then we got onto the hard part. How do we design the conversation? Right? We'll talk a little bit in a couple of slides, from the technical perspective, but this was the most important part. Right? We have, tens of thousands of interactions with customers per week across each of our markets. By going through and analysing all of that, we start to pick up certain patterns, trends, and as Dave mentioned, there's only a small percentage of people in the world that are, AI and machine learning experts. We haven't cornered that market. So again, how do we actually do this? Taking advantage of Google and the amount of money that they invest into this. Next was the integration. So integration into our BSS as well as our OSS systems. And the final thing, which was probably the easiest, was actually to build the chatbot. I won't go into great details on this. If anyone wants more technical, they can find me after the session. But with this, we need to make sure that our customers can interact with us from the client stack. So we have both a mobile version of the chatbot as well as the web. This is also omni-channel, so they can come in through Facebook, Telegram, they can come in through Zendesk, which is our case management system. We're also expanding that out to WhatsApp and to a number of other avenues. Because as customers, you should use the tools that you want to interact with us, not be forced to use the tools that we want to use. We also have it on the website. Going behind that on the server stack, again, we've partnered with Google and GCP. We're running Postgres for a database, and then, of course, the unification and chatbot layers. But right at the back end, the most important decision that we made was with Dialogflow. And this actually has enabled us to go from ideation to production rollout in less than 6 months. So, our chatbot in action covers 3 very specific areas that we're starting with today. First one on the left is product inquiries. We have gamer packages, we have other offerings. This one here allows you to go through whichever channel you want, ask a question about what's the current promotions, and the chatbot will respond. Billing, unfortunately today we still have to pay for our services. This is probably one of the largest areas of questions that any service business gets. Why is there an extra charge on my bill? How much do I owe you? What are the methods that I can pay? Right? When will I be charged? Right? And then again, the one which is, I'd like to say we should never have to have, but we still do, is customer service. And a simple thing, right? Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, there was a small section of Singapore that lost the internet, right? If you happen to, be one of those people that are impacted and you come in and you go to the, the customer support from your mobile and say, why is my internet not working? If I sent you a response and said, please restart your router, I would expect some very colourful responses, right? If anyone said that to me, they would also receive some very colourful responses back because it's not the right answer. Our chatbot will sit there and will actually tell you what it's going to do. It will go and check that the LFC, which is the fibre company, connection is still up. It'll check that your ONT box is still functioning. It will check that your account status is still in an active state, that your billing, it'll go through a series of checks, and it will tell you, we're doing each one of these checks right now. And then it'll come back and say, everything's working. Then it'll say, would you like to restart your router, right? This is the whole part of providing that, that benefit and that, experience going forward. This one was an interesting one because when we were looking at this, Simple thing from the lesson is don't lose sight of the customer, right? Anytime, look, I'm a geek as well. I love technology. I spend more hours on a computer than I should. But it's very easy for us to become obsessed about the technology. What are we building for the technology? Which is the new, latest, greatest thing that we're using? Never lose sight of the customer. As long as you do that, your project will be successful. The second one is engage stakeholders at all levels. And the most important part here is don't forget the emotional aspect. Don't forget the people, right? If you say we're going to put in a chatbot, senior management thinks, oh, so I can get rid of all of my call center agents, right? Middle management thinks, it may work, it may just make more work for me. The people on the ground are thinking, am I going to lose my job, right? You need to make sure that you understand this. Chatbots for us are not about replacing people. Chatbots are us to making a better experience for the customers, to actually increase the skill level for each of our agents so that they can go and work on things that are more interesting. And the big one is you need to train the chatbot. It's like a child, right? Babies don't just come out and can walk, talk, and cause parents stress. They need to learn that over a period of time. Chatbot is the same. Go through, teach it. Right now, the chatbot for customer support and billing has an 85% success rate. Right? So 85% of all interactions that are coming in, the chatbot is able to resolve on the first interaction. Again, it's not something you can just do once and forget. You need to continually evolve and improve this. And of course, the most important thing is have fun. Embrace the learnings. You will have a number of challenges that you will encounter along the way. You will have a mixture of successes and, unfortunately, some failures. But enjoy it. Have fun. Embrace the learnings. Don't be afraid to try. I can't stand up here and say that I did this because that would be completely wrong. Just to emphasize a point, the first two people there, Darren and Zane, they're full-time developers for MyRepublic. They're senior developers. They've been with us for a number of years. The other 6 are actually interns, Polytechnic interns as well. Shi Ying, who's up there, she is not even doing software engineering, right? Her studies are around network. Yet these 8 people built this chatbot. And this chatbot is amazing, right? So again, if you're talking about you don't need to have AI experts, the fact that this was built with 2 professional developers and 6 interns who are learning through it speaks volumes that this is the right decision that we made. Thank you.
What a great story. Talk about driving home the points I made earlier. You don't have to have a PhD in machine learning to still be able to take advantage of what exists today at Google. So I want to move on to the next basic group of people, and this is a very short section. But remember, I showed that nice pie chart and who can use AI. We talked over the last few minutes about developers and how they can use these building blocks. Now I want to talk a little bit about the analyst, the business analyst, or the business users. And we have these things called solutions that is an emerging area of delivery for us. And basically what it is it's Google's expertise, our products, some of the ones that you just saw and some other ones, combined with partner technologies basically to create workflow-specific solutions. And let me give a few examples of what this is. So we want to be able to solve real business problems. So like in things like retail, it might be optimized for product pricing or to better manage your inventory. In manufacturing, it might be predictive maintenance. In finance, maybe extracting more significant information, insights from physical documents. So solving these real business problems in actual real workflow. So 3 of these solutions that we've rolled out to date, and there are more coming, are Document AI, Contact Center AI, and Recommendation AI. So Document AI, or what you may have seen called document understanding AI is basically the ability to look at a document, literally a physically printed document, think of it as maybe OCR on steroids, and to not just understand what's on the page, but really get insights from what's on the page. And to be able to do things like, again, look at claims processing for hospitals, perhaps, or, again, for loan applications and financial services, to be able to look and to derive insights from those physically printed pieces of paper. Contact center AI is a layer of abstraction even higher than dialogue flow, in that not only does it provide the ability for you to do automated chats, but it also, with integration with the 6 or 7 largest call center or contact center companies in the world, lets you do things like provide context for your call center agent when they talk to someone, to do smart routing of those calls. So maybe it gets triaged by a chatbot and then gets sent either voice or chat, and then gets sent with smart routing to an individual call center agent who's given context and is given recommendations on how to resolve the issues. And then the third one is recommendation AI, typically for retail. And this helps essentially drive better pricing and make better recommendations in an e-commerce setting to start with, or other physical bricks and mortar down the road. So these are actual ready-to-deploy solutions today that are plugged in as solutions. So let me summarize this section. Who can actually use AI today? You know, the famous pie chart here. So I would argue that you can use AI today by using our building blocks and our AI solutions. Building blocks really for the 23 million developers, people like me, and solutions for the business analyst of the world. Building blocks, to summarize, you saw this again earlier. We've got perceptive services, things like sight, language, conversation, and structured data, the AutoML tables you heard about earlier. I would say things like computer vision, these are practically solved use cases. If you were to go out tomorrow and build your own chatbot, I'm not sure that would be really a fantastic idea, because either us or others have really done a great job in solving these types of problems. Sight, language, conversation. So these building blocks. And then we have these ready-to-use solutions. Document AI, contact center, and recommendation AI. Things that are plugged in, taking our infrastructure, right, our AI insights, and making it available for you to use as a business analyst. So my final slide is always a call to action. So please, if you're going to take a picture of any slide, this would be the one to take a picture of. Please go do stuff. As a developer advocate, there's no better way to learn a product than actually putting fingers on keyboard. So, number one, leverage trainings and labs. We've got Coursera, we've got Quick Labs. Go take advantage of what's out there. There's a lot of stuff out there on the building blocks and solutions that I just talked about. Second is look at our customer case studies. The reason that in every session we try to have a customer is because I think they make it real. We've got lots of customer case studies. You can go and learn what's worked for other actual companies in place. Third thing is read. This is a very tactical thing, but literally sign up and read our AI blog, Cloud AI blog. Most of our, we don't do a lot of press releases. Most of our new information and insights ultimately come across from the Cloud AI blog. And also, you might want to follow a few people. I put some names up here from some of the people on my team who are thought leaders in this area that do lots of things that are educational and interesting. And then finally, the big thing is try it yourself, right? Go on and play with these products. You can literally sit in your seat right now, go to google.cloud and look at our Vision product and take a picture of me right now and then move that picture onto the little app we set up, and you could see what kind of results you get back. I mean, it's really quite amazing. And we have credits for those of you who need it, but we give away lots of stuff for developers to go and try and get their hands right. So, to summarize, The name of the session was ready to deploy, ready to use AI solutions. We think that there's tons of potential. We've seen it at Google ourselves on what machine learning can do for you. We think that it can help you transform your enterprise. We've taken what we've learned and made it available for developers and for business users, for analysts, to take advantage of AI infrastructure. And there's lots of tools out there for you to go and use and plug in today. With that, I'll thank you and hopefully enjoy the rest of your day.